Most of my inspiration comes from events in my life. A lot of it came from just a lot of the stuff I went through a couple of years ago. Life had kind of fallen apart for me, so a lot of the songs that I've written are based kind of out of how God lifted me out of that pain and just really helped me get my life together and put it on a much better track than it was. A lot of the other ones I've written, my inspiration just comes from some of the worship songs I'll hear from Hillsong or the Newsboys, um, just some of those loud and proud worship songs that we all love. Well, to be honest, I don't have a lot of free time. I'm currently a student at Pine Technical and Community College in Pine City. I'm an accounting major, which is weird. I also work part-time. I'm the worship leader at Access Church down in North Branch. So I really don't have a lot of free time, but when I do, love watching football. Avid Vikings fan and Patriots, so it's a little heartbroken when they played and it was all one-sided. Just hoping it would be close. Also enjoy gaming, particularly Battlefield or Call of Duty. Those are always a blast, literally. Beyond that, I don't really get a lot of free time to do much fun stuff. No, and no. Well, that's an interesting question for me because I officially became a Christian in the summer of 2009. I was baptized. It was about then I accepted Jesus into my life. But after that, I went into my senior year of high school, and I kind of started turning away from God. It was something, it didn't take priority in my life. And looking back now, I see that was foolish. I went off to college and still wasn't priority. I was just like, oh, I've got to get through school. I did have a girlfriend at the time. I'm like, all right, I got to marry her and do all this stuff. Well, then in the beginning of 2012, things just fell apart for me across the board. I had a really bad breakup with that girl. I got kicked out of school because I couldn't afford it anymore. I was going to a school of $16,000 a year. I couldn't come up with that tuition, so I had to drop out. And that was the point where I feel that God really he knocked me down to my knees. So the only place I could look was up. When all this came about, God was all I had, and it was the point in my life where I decided I can't do this on my own anymore. I've got to give it all to God, because if I just keep going on this path, I'm going to do irreparable damage to my life. So I started serving again at my old church, Evergreen. Became the worship leader there out of some unusual circumstances. And that was when I started to really develop as a leader and really dove deeper into my faith, because it was all I had. I did have my family, but half of them aren't Christians. So, I mean, the only true light I had in my life was from my church, from God, because I was still around so many negative influences. So I guess to answer your question, I mean, I became a Christian in 2009, but I really dove into my faith and got serious about it in 2012. That's a very tough question. There are a lot of bands that I look up to. I couldn't really pick one. One big one I would definitely say I look up to would be the Newsboys. I mean, they're very unique sound. Their songs are just so powerful. Another one that I really look up to would probably be 10th Avenue North, actually, maybe more so than the Newsboys, just because a lot of their songs I feel like have really impacted my life, and it's been the kind of thing where I listen to their songs, I'm like, okay, did they write this with me in mind? Um, Example, a more recent one they've come out with is No Man Is an Island. And one of the whole idea of the song is that we were made for community, that we were made to do life together. And that hasn't always been my experience. I've always been the kind of person who is like, if you want something done right, you got to do it yourself. You got to go through it alone. And I realize now, looking back at how I thought before, that I was wrong. But it's been something that I've been really working on, and that song has just been truly powerful. Another one, 10th Avenue North, You Are More. I've done stupid things. Who hasn't? And the whole idea of that one, if you haven't heard it, just amazing song, is, I mean, the chorus is, you are more than the choices that you've made, you are more than the sum of your past mistakes. And I live a lot, I fight with just living in the person I used to be, trying to let go of my stupidity, just letting go of my past. So that's one that kind of makes me tear up a little bit, I'll be honest. So, I mean, I definitely look up to, the Newsboys and 10th Avenue North. Oh, favorite superhero, Captain America. Just saying. Love the old school, guy from an older, a better time, or arguably a better time. Just, I feel like I connect with him more so than the other Avengers. Never been a DC guy, so stick with Marvel here and say Captain America. Well, I I want to say I started seriously writing this year, 2014. But I did actually in 2012 write a spoof of the song "Call Me Maybe." It's called "Come to Church Maybe," and the whole reason we did that, that was the year that it came out, and everyone was all obsessing about it. So of course it was stuck in my head. So I'm like, well, let's spoof it and throw it in at church, and it was interesting. It was also a time when we had a lot of people that were leaving the church. Just some bad rumors going around about it. So it's like the whole idea of the song is like, so please come to our church. The pastor thought it was hilarious, so we threw it in at one point. Got a lot of laughs for it. But I started writing worship music shortly after joining Render. Came up with the first 4 songs that we performed. So I mean, before that it was just tinkering around a little bit. There wasn't really any songwriting going on. It was just, oh hey, look what I can do with my guitar. So yeah. Favorite memory of Render? Probably there was a night where we all went bowling. It was shortly after we'd gotten started, and I had gotten 2 strikes in a row, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get a turkey, and Aaron's like, a turkey? I explained to him what it was. He's like, all right, if you get this turkey, I will gobble. I got the turkey, and he did the most epic turkey gobble I have ever heard. Just made my day. I wish there had been more people in the the bowling place to see it. It was so great. Um, Well, I play guitar. I dabble in a lot of other things. I play drums well enough to keep a beat. That's about it. Play a little bit of harmonica. That's a fun one. Um, a little bit on the piano, but not very well. I want to say that's really about it. My musical journey actually began in high school. Through like seventh and eighth grade, Jeremy, our bassist, and my brother had been just nagging. He's like, "Hey, you should join choir. Hey, you should join choir." And by ninth grade, I was like, "All right, already." So I joined the mixed choir, which was the entry level choir for that. Um, and I was a part of that for that year before going to join the concert choir and the Pine City Singers chamber choir for the high school, the 10th through 12th graders. Um, the choir director there, I think she must have seen something in me that she didn't see in her other students, because I feel like she really invested in me more. Pushed me to do solos, pushed me to go to all the different conferences and the festivals that students were allowed to go to. Then after I graduated, I didn't really do a whole lot for music then. I was so focused on my studies at college. So I wasn't really. I don't know if just nobody saw anything in me, or they just thought that they didn't have time or whatever to help me grow. So I put down the guitar and whatnot for about a year and a half, and then in 2012 when I joined the worship team at Evergreen, they started investing in me. The worship leader helped me to grow as a guitarist and a singer. And then after I started leading there, the church actually set up for me to go over to a bigger church, the one with which our pastor was good friends with that pastor, and they were training up some worship leaders. So they're like, oh yeah, we'll throw Andrew in. And so it helped me to really develop. It's like I had the technical skills from when I was in choir, to just singing key. To kind of have a good idea of where my range is. And then this training I did over at the Crossing Church, that was really finding my own voice, my own style, helping me to develop my own sound. So as a vocalist, that was where things really started to pick up for me. Now, as a guitarist, I'd always done rhythm guitar, mostly acoustic, with Evergreen, and then after Evergreen closed and I started going to Access Church, and I started leading there, they needed a lead guitarist. So I was like, I'll give it a shot. What could possibly go wrong? And after flubbing a few weeks, started to find a groove, pun intended, and really started to develop there. I've still got a lot to learn with that, but it's enough of a foundation to make something of it.